Welcome back to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Ewell, and today I have a very special guest, Mr. Christian Price, who is a chiropractor in Boise, Idaho.
You are tuning in to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Jesse Ewell. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle. Let's go.
Christian's been a buddy of mine for a while. And I wanted to bring him on and tell his story a little bit because a lot of the chiropractors we work with, when we start, they usually have an existing business. Christian was one of the ones that didn't. And so he actually, joined us, which we'll talk about a little bit before he actually had his business. But since then has really taken off. So Christian, want to thank you, man, for being on the show today. Can you tell the audience just maybe like a 1 to 2 minute intro about, who you are, what you do, and then kind of like what you've been doing in practice?
Okay. Yeah. Well, like you said, I'm a chiropractor, practiced out of school now for 10 years. Previous to when we signed up with you, I'd worked for 10 years in another office. And it was due to a whole bunch of situations we're not going into here. Basically, because of a lawsuit dealing with him, I was unable to work at the time. And we were trying to figure out what options I was going to do to provide an income. It looked like the lawsuit was going to drag on longer. And I'd hired you to actually try and help us create an income doing some things I knew with nutrition, fitness, and other things that wouldn't violate things with the lawsuit while I was waiting. And it was funny, even was I interviewed and we were signing up, you're like, I think if you take action, you're going to see things change quickly for you. And literally we signed to coach with you, and 2 days later, our lawsuit finalized. We won the lawsuit, and I was able to start and practice and buy the practice I want to. I work a lot with kids who are struggling neurologically, kids who are struggling with developmental issues, kids who are struggling with ADHD, behavior issues, a lot of that different pediatric element with chiropractic. For years before, I'd done a lot of sports and everything because I played rugby for years, so very familiar with a lot of the different injury aspects, but I became very passionate about the pediatrics and helping these kids thrive. And we went from where my office, opening the office, up and running now in 4 months.
Yeah, wait, before we get into kind of specifics, okay. I want to back up a little bit, man, because I think it's important that we, one, talk about. So like before you started working with us, you obviously had some stuff going on, which we're not going to dive into, but like you reach out to me, you sign up, man. What was that like, just signing up for something when it's like, dude, I don't really have a business. Like here I am taking like a huge risk.
It was super stressful because, it was basically the last $10,000 we had saved up in the bank to figure out what we were doing. And I had no options for what I was going to do, but I wanted to at least start creating some kind of a business that when things finalized with the lawsuit, at least I could roll into my future business. And so it was even had a big discussion with my wife because, it was basically most of the money we had in our bank account. And I remember just clearly feeling strongly that I needed to make a move and do something and stop just sitting here waiting for the court system to figure out what I could and couldn't do.
Yeah, I love that, man. It's kind of like you were, it's almost like we wait, to take action to get a guarantee, right? And then you're like, at some point, you're just like, dude, the best guarantee I have is to kind of bet on myself. Let me ask you this, man. What was it about what we did that you saw that you really felt like, hey, I can get results with this?
I saw not only how you were helping people get results in all kinds of different businesses, but I saw something I could apply to anything I wanted to do. So how I could apply to sports background, nutrition, where my wife also does a lot of things, and how you also help chiropractors build and create momentum for their business and not having to, being primarily focused on this organic element of creating a business, creating marketing, not necessarily depend on buying ads and working into purchasing ad after ad and figuring that space out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. So you, 2 days after, signing up with us, you ended up kind of going through and buying a practice and going through that transition. So how fast, with all this stuff happening, what was kind of the first result, man, that you saw from working with us?
Well, within the first month of practice, I mean, we're expecting, hey, getting started our first month, be slow, kind of figuring it out. But the biggest result was that within a couple of weeks, people were able to find me. My name was getting out there because I had no contact with any old clients or anything. And so all it was my name being out there on social media. And that was even difficult getting my name out there because my former employer was blocking and trying to keep my name tied to his office, even sending advertisements in my name, all kinds of things. So it was only social media I was able to get my name out. And by the end of the first month, we had made $20K in our first month.
Wow. And what were you expecting to do, man? In your first month?
We were hoping to, 7 to 10K in our first month, just hopefully breaking even, at least in getting our expenses and stuff covered, opening the office.
Yeah. So, a lot of people come to us and they're like, hey, I don't know if I could, get these results. So like, what would you say, being that you're new, not only the marketing, but kind of new to business, man? What would you say to that person, without obviously going into details, specifics, but like, what would you say to that person about getting results?
Putting your head down and working. It's just, that's the biggest thing, is finding an avenue you believe in and someone you trust. Just doing the work, you get results. That's I think too often in my own head, I get complicated thinking about, hey, what should I do? Tie it to this, trying to do it all perfect. And when you're in a situation where it's like, okay, I've got to go, you just work. You don't have to sit there and tie up your head around perfection instead of just getting out there and doing it.
Yeah.
And most of the time, people that are kind of dragging their feet, they're trying to get this perfect scenario, thinking everything's going to be perfect. Here's my guarantee. When the reality, like I said, the only guarantee is yourself and what you can put into it. And so if you want results, it's just putting your head down and working, and stop tying up and trying to have perfection.
Awesome, man. So, first month you do 20K. What did you guys end up doing your second month?
30.
And then third, you did what?
Third, we're 32, 33.
And then your fourth month,
almost 40. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're consistently, hitting 30K a month or more, and you've only been in business for 4 months.
Yep.
Not even 4 full months.
Exactly.
Awesome, man. And so what were you expecting it to take you to get to this point? Did you think you'd get here this fast, or?
No. Me and my wife were just talking about this yesterday, because we were hiring staff, and we took our first employee out to lunch yesterday just to talk more about big vision, practice goals, and trying to find out how we can help her feel more involved with the practice. And it was the same thing, talking to her. It was like, we had no idea it was going to grow this fast to where we were doing this. My wife was planning on doing everything in the office just to try and cut costs. And it quickly became that wasn't possible to do, and we needed higher staff. And so now we're in this process where we're trying to grow and expand and hire more staff and more staff.
That's amazing, man. So you've obviously had, a huge, result when it comes to, financial stuff like that. But like, dude, talk to me about what having your brand on social media has done for you and your clients. So like, when they come in, what are things that they're saying prior, like once they come in, it's like, hey man, I see you on social media all the time. Like, what are the things that they're describing about you building your brand on social media?
A lot of it, especially most people have no idea the benefits of chiropractic care for kids or where their children need that. And people who may have heard of me or have known me in the past are now seeing, because of my social media, how I'm helping other children. And then they start seeing that opportunity for their own kids or kids they know that are struggling. So that awareness of those benefits has been a major factor in branding my office and me as someone who can help in those situations, who is able to get kids results. Like a young girl that had been going to another chiropractor for the last 3 months. It was basically only having bowel movements when she was having to take a supplement or something to get her trigger her bowel movement. And right away, we're able to get her having regular bowel movements because of understanding how to address those things, but branding myself as an expert who can help in those situations.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. So let me ask you this, man, what has been an unexpected result since you started working with us?
My marriage.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
I think working with you and some of the things that we've done, even going out into the live in-person training, because of the situation, me trying to work in the other situation, it had created a wedge between me and my wife. And being able to do something together and something that we're both can be completely dedicated to has really helped our marriage. And I mean, that's the biggest thing that I didn't think was something I'd get from signing with a business coach or a marketing coach, but just these simple, consistent habits of doing things with my wife and now communicating better with her inside the business. I mean, we both feel like our marriage is in the best place it's been, and we've been married 15 years. So
that's amazing. Well, are you calling me a marketing coach, man? Come on now. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you. Well, dude, I love the fact that you guys have 5 kids, right? So
yes.
5 kids, a business, you've been married 15 years, man. It's kind of like that. What do they call that? The triangle of insanity.
Exactly.
So, what's cool, man, is, your wife, obviously, she has tons of energy. She's very personable. You're very much kind of the technician, like, but I think what's cool is to watch you guys really work together and leverage your gifts, and you guys both, kind of bring it to the table, but like bring it your own uniqueness, and you guys really kind of seem like you thrive in that environment. And that's really what I've noticed from you guys as well. But like, what is that like, man, if you really think about, where you were, say 8-9 months ago to where you are today, obviously your year is, dude, it's drastically different, right? So like, what is it like for you heading into 2024 with this kind of mindset, you and your wife being on the same page, and then really just getting ready to double down in your business?
I mean, some of it's like looking back, you're like, I have to pinch myself. So many things have changed and they've gone better than we could have hoped they would have over the last year. But I think the biggest change beyond, like I said, with the marriage is I see myself differently. For the last 10 years, like I said, I worked under someone else and in an environment that I don't think I saw myself as being more. And having my own business and doing these things and having the support of my wife, I view myself differently and view my capacity more. And the growth I see that we're going to have in the next year is just amazing to think and see how much we can accomplish. And a lot of it's just come down to the way of shifting my mind and the stories that have behind a lot of my actions in the past.
So tell me this, man. Can you clarify a little bit what you mean by you see yourself differently?
My own self-confidence.
Okay.
One, believing in myself to be able to be a successful business owner, to be able to produce consistent results for my family on my own without having someone else hand it to me, if that makes sense.
So what does that do for you, man, as a husband, as a father, as a business owner, to know, know those things?
And I don't even know how to explain it, but just to know I can provide for my family on my own, and to know that not only is it something I'm doing for my family, what we're doing together, I don't even know how to explain how it makes me feel. So much joy and excitement for the future.
Yeah. Well, man, I'm super proud of you. Not only, for where you were at, it's like, dude, this is my last money that I got to throw in on me. But, the fact that when you can look back, and be like, hey, here's where I was 4 months ago when I bet on me, hopefully it gives you that confidence the next time is like, hey, the number one thing you can continue to do is bet on you, bet on your marriage, bet on your wife, bet on your kids. But, it's such a powerful thing, man, that you and your wife are even more connected now than you were, 4 or 5 months ago, or even the last 15 years. But I really wanted to share your story, man, because it's such a powerful thing to really listen to. Because, like, I knew you were signing up. I didn't really know how bad things were, but, like, to hear your story and listen back, it's pretty powerful, man. So I just want you to know how proud of you I am. I'm super excited for what you're going to do in 2024, because I know you're going to crush it.
Thank you. We appreciate you and all the help and guidance you've given us.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. So let me ask you this. This is our last question. So what would you say has been the biggest, game changer for you guys, beyond your wife? Obviously we know, but just for you as a man, like, what do you think's been the biggest game changer for you being in this program?
Honestly, it's viewing myself differently.
Okay.
I'm like the guy who never posted anything on social media. I'm not an open, like my wife's the exact opposite. So she posts everything, talks to everybody, and it's almost like we were talking about, it's become like almost a hindrance to me, because we can go to a party and she can talk and I don't have to do anything. And so I'm just the guy who doesn't do all that, but actually getting out, posting, sharing who I am has helped me open up and gain more self-esteem and self-confidence in myself, that I should be doing that more, instead of being the quiet guy that doesn't have to do that in the corner, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, I'll be honest, my wife's very talkative. She's kind of the same way. I'm more of the chill, sit back, unless we're talking about, something specific that I'm into. So, but, you're also a big, badass dude. You're what, 6 foot, 6'1", like 240.
Yeah.
You're rolling in 13% body fat. So, it's not like you're, 5'2", like, 150. So, Well, hey, man, one is I want to thank you for being on today to tell a little bit about your story. Two is I love the results that you're getting. And then I love the fact that you're not only improving your business, but your marriage. Like, what would you say to some person that was maybe sitting on the fence? Like, hey, should I do this program? Should I not? Am I really going to get the results? What would you say to that person?
I'd say go all in. I mean, just like you said, betting on myself and going all in on myself is where things changed. And I think also too many times people look at the program just looking at the monetary value and not seeing all the other things that go together. And that's one of the things that's nice about your program. It's not just, hey, here's this element, here's this for your business, monetary and financial. It's also growing as a person and as an individual. And so as you invest in that, you're going to see all the other areas in your life grow.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, thanks so much for being on here today, man. If you guys want to know more about Christian, you want to know more about how he gets these good looks and he's fit and ripped, you guys can check out the show notes. Also, if you want to be part of our habit-based lifestyle community, you can check out the show notes and get into our Facebook group. You can email me, Jesse@habitbasedlifestyle.com. Until next episode, have a great day.
You are tuning in to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Jesse Ewell. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle. Let's go.